So right now I'm with you guys on page 10 to review a really common mistake that I see sometimes when applying the distributive property. Now what we're doing is we're simplifying expressions, and a lot of times a common trap for people to fall into is to do the 4 minus the 2 and get a 2 first, and then think, okay, so I'm going to distribute a 2 to the 3x plus the 5. And so what you'd go on to get there would be a 6x plus 10. That is incorrect. That is the wrong way to do this. And the reason that's incorrect is because you're breaking PEMDAS there, folks. We have here a distributive step, and multiplying comes before adding or subtracting in PEMDAS. So if you subtract first before you multiply, you are breaking PEMDAS, and so that would be the wrong thing to do. So I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to explain here off to the side that what you're really looking at is 4 minus 2 sets of 3x plus 5. So here's your 4 minus, this is the one set of 3x plus 5, and then minus the other set of 3x plus 5. Now I wanted to remind you guys that that negative out in front basically means to take the opposite of everything in here. So there's your minus 3x minus 5, and here's your minus 3x minus 5 from the next one. And all I did next was I just shuffled around the order to help you see that this negative 3x goes with this negative 3x together. And then we have a 4, a negative 5, and a negative 5. And there's my 4, negative 5, and negative 5. So then when I'm combining here, I've got 3 negative x's and 3 more negative x's. So that's 6 negative x's. And then over here, what I did was took the 5 negatives and the other 5 negatives, and I just grouped them together for that. And then I still have my plus 4. And then 4 minus 10 is going to be this negative 6. So our final answer here is definitely going to be the negative 6x minus 6. And the goal is to not need to write it all out and add and subtract. Again, this is the long way, and then the distributive property is over here. This is our shortcut. So the shortcut says to leave the 4 alone. That's going to come later in PEMDAS. And so you're going to distribute this negative 2. And negative 2 times 3x is where I'm getting my negative 6x. And now this negative 2 times 5 is where I get this negative 10. Now this next line of work is simply meant to show that the negative 6x comes first. And then we have, there's the 4 and there's the negative 10. And you might remember from our y equals mx plus b unit, we like it when the constant comes last because that allows us to identify the y-intercept. So for our graphing unit, we want to order it such that the stuff with the variable comes first and then the constant comes last. So that's why this is going to be the way we format our final answer. Even though from this step right here, some of you see the 4 minus the 10 and would want to put a negative 6 and then minus 6x. This answer is technically still right, but we want to format it with the constant coming last simply because of our functions and graphing unit, okay? So let me just erase all of this now. Boop. And I'm actually going to delete this. See ya. And I'm going to move this so that we can now talk about number 2, okay? So for number 2 here, once again, we're going to distribute this 8. 8 times y is 8y. And then we've got 8 times the negative 4 is where I got the negative 32. And now we've got this negative 5 to combine with it. PEMDAS says that the adding and subtracting part comes last. So that's where I'm getting my negative 37 for the constant. And the 8y was from right here when I distributed. Okay? Now at this point you can pause the video and try the other ones and then hit play to see how you did, or you can just keep the video playing. I'm just going to delete here and here, so it'll go away. And this is the work and answers for 3, 4, and 5. You can pause the video if you need to and take a look, or you can just kind of check your answers as needed. Okay. So I've got 3, 4, and 5 done here for you. And now what you're going to do is you're going to try these 10 problems on your own for independent practice. And there will be a Google form for you to submit your answers to see how you're doing. So at this point, you're working on these 10 problems independently. Thank you.